Today, I want to talk to y'all about the age of accountability because, see, a lot of people do not want to be held accountable. When you reach a certain age, you can't blame mom, daddy, grandma, all these other people in your life, for what they did and why you came out the way you are. I mean, we can all, use an excuse of how many people have failed us. But when you get to an age of accountability, God expects you now to come to him. You can't keep using excuses. Oh, daddy did this. No, that's not going to work with God. You see, a lot of you like to blame. We understand it's not that you want to excuse what happened. You acknowledge what happened, and then you move on and you go to God and submit. You can't keep using the excuse that this is why I'm this way when God told you he is the burden carrier. That means nothing you have gone through cannot be fixed or corrected if you now submit yourself humbly to Jesus Christ. He said, "Come unto me, all ye who are heavy laden." Sin burdens you down. It weighs you down. When you're sitting here with a lot of sin and you're entangled in sin, yes, it weighs heavy on your soul. And this is why he said, those who are heavy laden, you're burdened down by all of the sin that you don't want to release and let go. You want to keep holding on to it. You want to go out here. You want to keep fornicating. You want to keep committing adultery. You want to keep drinking and getting drunk. You want to keep smoking. You want to keep doing the sorcery and the witchcraft. A lot of you are willingly doing these things, but then you want to go to God, or you want to go to all his servants and say, "Oh, help me, save me." You want to keep putting the burden on other people, but you don't want to yet submit yourself to God and come to Jesus Christ, who is the burden carrier, who will alleviate you and free you from those sins. You don't want to relinquish the sin. Many of you are willingly dabbling in these sins, so you can receive your success, so you can receive your power, so you can receive your fame and your wealth. And then you get so entangled up in the sin. Now you want somebody else to bail you out. You want someone else to carry the burden for you. But why should God's servants keep carrying the burden? Well, you don't want to listen to the pastors. You're rebellious. Many of you don't even listen to your pastors when you do have good pastors who are trying to teach you right. You don't want to listen to the prophets. You don't want to listen to his anointed vessels. You don't want to listen to anybody. You don't want to listen to a thing. Anybody said you've grown, you do what you want to do, right? But then when you're ready to face the consequences, where the pastor at? Where the servants at? Somebody pray. Somebody get me out this trouble. Somebody carry this burden from me. Then you want to go right back to your sin. You want to go right back to your vomit every single time God frees you from it. A lot of you can sit up here and you can pay for tickets, concert tickets, and a lot of these people are dying. You pay for concert tickets from a person who themselves are walking in their own flesh, a person who has dedicated them lives. Many of these entertainers have willingly given themselves over to Satan, allowed demons to come inside of them so they can exchange, get their success, their money, their freedom, and lead you to hell with them. Some of them have confessed to this, but you want to pay money to go to their concerts. People grown as what? Going to these concerts. Many of them are dying at these concerts. And you go into these concerts, okay? You can spend money on a concert, but when it comes to something that is of God, you stray away from it. You don't even want to look at nothing that pertains to God. You don't want to buy a book that talks about God, or you don't want to do something like watch a podcast or do anything, or even go to a godly church. But you will freely go to a concert. You will freely spend money on things that are going to destroy you and put you in a further bondage. But then when you're entangled and you're saying, "Oh, here we go. Well, get me out the sin." And God sees you. He sees this behavior. You are now at the age of accountability. When you've reached that age, you can't blame anybody else for your problems. You have to now take accountability and initiative for yourself. If you want to come out of your bondage, you can't keep using excuses of what so-and-so did to you when you were a child. You are an adult now. If you're an adult, you're supposed to put away the childish things now and come to the accountability. If you want help and you want deliverance, you want your soul to be set free, you need to go to God yourself. You need to seek him yourself. You need to relinquish the sins and start living according to that word. You're not supposed to just listen to the word and watch it. You're supposed to be a doer of the word. You're not supposed to crucify your flesh, meaning you need to start doing what you're supposed to do and walking in that righteousness and not waiting on somebody else to come and save you. A lot of you don't want to take accountability. You don't want to be responsible for anything, but you want to be grown. You want to do what you want to do, but then you want to put the burden on everybody else to come and save you and carry you. No, we're not going to keep doing it. God's going to hold you accountable. We don't mind. People's servants should not have to carry you. If you are going to willingly allow yourself to be entangled in your sin, you're not trying to break free. We're not talking about people who are struggling, who really want to be free and who are having a problem. We're talking about people who willingly, you go and sin on purpose, and you're rebellious. You know what the word says, and you willingly go sin because you want to do what you want to do. But then you expect somebody to alleviate you from the consequences. You don't want to suffer the consequences that come with sin, because in the Bible, it talks about sin and the consequences that come as a result of it. When you walk according to your flesh and you sow into the flesh, you reap corruption. That's what it says. But a lot of you don't want to reap that corruption. You want to escape it, but you want to willingly be be able to sin freely as you want to, but you want someone to come bail you out. No one's going to bail you out, because God is going to start holding you accountable now. You know better. You know what the word says, and you continue to willingly go back to your own vomit, and you entertain these demons. Then you're going to one God's going to hold accountable. We're trying to tell you something now. See, when the anointed servants and the prophets and the pastors and evangelists speak to you, you're supposed to hearken to them, because they're trying to tell you something to keep you from stumbling. You're not supposed to say, oh, well, you take the warnings before the trouble comes. You don't say, oh, well, no, I'm in trouble, get me out, when you've bypassed all the warnings. And that's just how it works in God's kingdom. You cannot say you did not know better, especially when you know. And you're willingly and dabbling in your sins. Many of you know God. You've grown up in God. You're raised in the church. You knew about God, and you chose to part away from that. You chose to do your sorcery and your witchcraft. You chose to entertain the things that are of the world and the things that are of the devil, because you want what you want. You want your success and your fame and all this other stuff, your fortunes, your material possessions that cannot save your soul and free you. And you need to get it together, because see, God's not going to keep bailing you out. He's going to hold you accountable.